Did that.
Good morning, everybody. We're here at the State House.
Hey!
We're here with Dan. And there's Jim Miller's butt. Yeah. Here comes Jim Miller. Tireless advocate for medical cannabis.
I plan on doing some coughing very shortly.
Good coughing.
Oh, good coughing.
Good coffee.
But it's not a statement. And like I was saying, if my aging stepdad ends up dying because of coronavirus, I want to be able to point at my brother and go, it's your fault, you fuck.
I can't hear you. You got a mask on. So I forgot my stand. So we're going to do the old school.
Now I don't mind sitting closer. Yeah, well, I'm glad you're here. I thought that if I didn't smoke, but maybe just enough to really make sure it does a little for the pain in the morning, like one toke, that I'd be here on time and I'd be all just in the right attitude, you know? And I was late. I wasn't getting stuff done. I was like stoned as supposed to be. Only I was trying to get by that. So then I opted for getting in the car and lighting one up.
Nice. It smells good.
Yeah, but I'm missing my edge right now.
What were you smoking? What strain is that? It's fruity.
Giant Delight.
Yeah, very nice and
It's
robust, fruity.
I
A
don't
little
know.
fruity? No?
Yeah, and it pairs well with stuff. I don't know. I just never said that phrase before
Pairs
either. Leaning forward rather than sitting back, just a
Okay.
little bit, you
Right.
know. And there's no time to be leaning back right now, so.
No, not at all.
Well, anyway.
So what are we doing here? What are we doing here today?
Well, procedurally speaking, so I'm sitting close.
So you're a registered lobbyist, is that what that is?
What's that?
You're a registered lobbyist?
No.
Yeah.
Registered patient.
Yeah.
Oh, it's your
Oh, yeah.
marijuana card.
Yeah. Who is that? Some 22-year-old in jail who's a patient.
Yeah.
Do you know? All I know is he was at a party, got shot, and he's a patient, but he had to have cannabis on him,
Yeah.
and he's in jail where COVID runs rampant.
Patrick
Yes.
Calloway, I gotta write about that.
Yeah. What's his name? Patrick Calloway?
Patrick Calloway is the name of the individual. Morris County, I think he is.
Yeah.
He was arrested, he was a patient, and it's a really serious issue that way. You know, we had the same issue with Brian Powers. You know, I was covering him in court earlier this year, pre-COVID, and it's really serious. Cops don't understand this. So, you know, the Reverend Charles Boyer, who's a good advocate for reform, I think has been working with his mother, at least, so that's something. But
Don't burn your mask. Don't burn your mask. Oh my God. Oh.
The style,
Oh.
yeah. Notice I was breathing in.
Oh.
I was breathing in
Hot box.
when the mask is off, so I'm not breathing out in your direction.
Hot mask.
On the other hand,
Does that count? Are you blowing COVID at me? No.
it's a mask. This is what you do to keep it from.
But isn't there COVID in the smoke?
No.
No. Or the no.
No. It's
Do we
it's
know?
actually droplets that won't go through this. See, if you were like coughing on me, I could breathe it in up through here, and I have a beard. It might make it through. I don't know. Again, I don't care. You mistake me for somebody that has something to live for. It's not that. It's my insurance policy that when somebody I care about, if they get sick, I know it wasn't me. You know, because I'm the guy that's taking crap for sitting around like this, and I'm not making a statement. It's, again, my freaking insurance policy.
Oh yeah, you must be a Democrat. You're wearing a mask. You're a Democrat.
Oh no, I resigned from that party last year. Maybe you don't remember when that happened.
It's all political now. If you don't have a mask on, you're a Trumper. It's unbelievable what happened to our country in the past few years. And then, you know, let me talk about Black Lives Matter for a second.
Yeah, all you want.
This is really scary stuff that's going on here. But when you think about it, this has been going on for 400 years. Our country was built on a lie. It was built on all men are created equal, except for black people and women. So we're basing our country on lies. We started off wrong. We started step one. We didn't even get step one right. So what do we expect when people want to tear down Washington's statue? What do you expect? It's a 400 years of oppression and lies, and I get it. And when you say this, when you say this to other white people, they look at you like you're crazy.
You know, there's something that eventually gets brought into the mix, and there's probably back channeling going on right now. There's movement, you know. The movement is the wave, not the surfer. The surfer is the one who uses the wave. So people that want this change to happen are already thinking, how do we translate this, the movement we have, the feeling, the passion, and the stage, you know? You got the center stage now. So like, who is gonna change that into legislation? Who's the go-between? Like right now, the only person making a move on that right now seems to be Al Sharpton. Well, he's never been one of my favorite people, but that's only because of the Tawana Broly thing way long ago. Well, stuff went on. He actually pulled somebody out on a stoop and then said he was attacked by him. And hey, you know, but I've come to realize that's just a tactic. It was at the time it seemed really wrong. But nonetheless, I got a mask on. I can say it wasn't me.
Yeah, sure.
I'm glad that he's kind of got his eye on the future. The August 28th rally coming up. He's in position. He knows all the players, the people we are passionate and feeling very bad about right now. So, but he's the one that can then talk with legislators, because they will talk to him. Are they going to talk to me or you if we were leading some sort of movement? Hell no. So somebody has to make sure they know what can and can't be done, because somebody like Reverend Al is going to be like selling a couple of cars. You know, he's going to have one way overpriced, one about right, and two that you want to grab. You know, he's willing to put something back to focus on something and take people saying, why isn't that important too? There is a step-by-step process that I am smart enough to know that I don't know a lot of shit. That's a good starting point for anybody. Yeah, I want you to pass something. How does that work? And then think like a legislator, because they're the ones that are going to do it. Well, you know, if you don't have any money, you can't get your foot in the door. All right. Somebody gives you money, you're going to get access. It seems to work that way. I'm not going to argue that point. At some point, it does work that way. But if you can pick somebody's pocket and they don't want you to do that, you get a backdoor sort of access, meaning if I can cause you public relations damage, you're going to have to spend some time, effort, and maybe cash on to make it right. You should have sat down and talked with me in the first place. So right now for me, no home delivery during a pandemic.
Okay, what sign you got there?
I mean, the sign I was smoking too much pot to put up when I came in.
Let me see your sign there. What's that say?
Medical cannabis. Home delivery now.
Hold on. Let me turn this around. Hold on.
Senator Singleton, both Paul and Ken. They each have a reason for being.
Oh. Screenshot. You got another one?
Quite simple. Tells the story. Many people may think that means it's illegal because it doesn't say anything. I mean, you don't fit so many words on it. That's what's bothering me, is it's hidden. Well, it doesn't become illegal when the governor signs it. It's usually 30 days after the first order, blah, blah, blah. But it's been signed for that long. There's no excuse in the world that I would try to give the benefit of the doubt to. Basically, you might as well start thinking about how much it costs to file public records requests, because any work done about this should be on record somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gone even to conversation. Everybody's thinking somebody else is going to do it. Once a year, there's used to be, I assume, still maybe it was because of the pandemic.
How you guys doing, all right?
Hey, how are you?
What's happening,
Hey,
man? What do you got going on, man?
Advocating for cannabis reform,
Awesome.
legalization, home grow, home delivery.
It's like, what's the Legos about?
Talking right, man.
So the
Have a
home,
good day, man. Stay.
Yeah, we're building wheelchair ramps out of Legos.
Okay.
That's for wheelchair ramp.
the home delivery, a year anniversary next week.
Yeah, the Jack Honing Act.
A year. Yeah,
Yeah.
a year. Now, it's in no particular order, and I haven't looked over them yet. I just want to. So I was thinking about it. There's some legislators that if they put their masks on and were talking, I would expect their forked tongues would cut right through them.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know. I got to get a cartoon of that, you know. Perhaps that's
though.
why some politicians, president, don't wear a mask.
So, but like, what is the issue though? Do they need to write regulations? Is the only something?
According to John Brown, the director of the program, late in May.
John Brown?
Yeah.
Jeff.
John Brown, that's his name. Ask me again, I'll tell you the same. Jeff Brown?
Is the
Oh, please
director.
tell me it's not Jeff Brown.
Deputy Commissioner.
Jeff Brown.
That whole John Brown thing doesn't work. A Little Rascals episode. You
I
probably
know,
don't
you were
remember
running
that.
with it too. I had to stop you.
Yeah,
You can't go down that road.
it's true. You
Jay
know
Brown.
yeah, I never thought about that.
Jay Brown.
Yeah. Anyway,
Jeff Brown. So what is,
Jeff Brown. Okay, Jeff Brown said then to Brenda Flanagan is, I assume, the program. I mean, I don't know who pays for it. If it's going to cost money to the patients, is it going to be, you know? But anyway, he said that, and then he said, it's probably in here somewhere. They also have to be able to track the transactions. What is?
it's software, but shouldn't they already have software that tracks purchases?
Shouldn't it take less than a year for that? You know, that's just the point. Is when did they start thinking about that? And that there are 12 other states that do have home delivery. Perhaps if I were a legislator, I would call my counterpart in those states, take the time, and call them and say, what's the best and the worst of it? What should we look out for? How did you do it? Did it need adjustments? All right, I got 11 more calls to make. See it, and then hit it. Or
That requires work. They don't wanna work.
you direct somebody to, though. They don't do the work. They have a Senate majority and a Senate minority office. They do stuff like that. Yeah,
That's
it is that easy. And beyond that, I do home delivery for patients. I've done that. There's a problem with that, though. They have to then do home delivery for me, or it's coming off my allotment. So, yeah, I do it, and I ran out month before last, helping somebody, you know. But anyway, it shouldn't be my part. But how about this? Why don't we have an emergency session? We fast track something for patients one time, because we did it for everybody else. You know, doctors got their diplomas.
Hey guys.
What's up?
All right.
What's going on?
We got Legos. Nice. More Legos.
Takes 10 years off my wrinkled face. I'm thinking of wearing a mask over my forehead or something, you know.
Covers my broken.
Jim, he's only about 40. Yeah, this,
Yeah.
it is that simple. is that simple. So I went to the dispensary and I took Mary with me, and I put a sign on the back of the car, and then when I put a picture of it up, somebody went in, I saw that car today. So forevermore, what's going on, man? It's been a while. What's going? It's that when I go to Curaleaf, it's not their problem. It has nothing to do with them, and they don't care that I'm there. But then I live 25 minutes away. I mean, I can just take a ride up there and sit there for an hour. I don't have to go in. You know, it's out. I can go get the nice space so you go right by it, you know. I'd go stop and make a Jim Miller special, you know, the one that fits in the windows on both sides and across the front and across the back. Whatever.
Marquee.
But the no home delivery regulations after almost a year has got me as upset as I have ever been about patients. The only time patients don't come in second is when they come in third or fourth or fifth. Depends how many people are involved, you know? And one time, it occurs to me, especially in the last month, that we have a law saying New Jersey is going to consider cannabis equal to other medicines when it comes to legalities and everything else. There's a law. So they made a law which stipulated, otherwise it gets treated different. It always has. So they have that law. But when it comes to, say, delivery of this medicine, there's a whole nother bunch of regulations. You can get opiates delivered from pharmacy.
Yeah.
You can become addicted to those opiates. Then you can enter the program, be recommended cannabis to deal with the problem the home delivery of opiates caused. And now there's the remedy that can't be delivered to your home because why? Oh man, that gets me going.
I never really thought of it that way yet.
Oh, I got a few other angles in it. Is that everything needs to be relative. People understand relativity. So simple. Other than guns, you can get just about anything delivered to your door. The post office will deliver live chicks if you want. They do.
Chicken?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I've wanted baby chick for a long time.
And the post office will deliver them. They're allowed to, they will. But patience should be an emergency remedy until they get their shit together. And what it would be something like this. Hi, I'm, in this case, Mary Pangburn, and this is my ID number, and checking the caller ID, and it's okay, it's coming from her registered phone number, and she's telling me her ID number, and she's saying that another patient, James Miller, will be by sometime today to pick up an order for him. He's going to pay for it and pick it up. And then they either can get in touch with me, they know my ID when I get there. Well, not up to us to make the regulations, but here's the vehicle. I'm a known quantity. I'm a patient. Am I less likely than anybody else to screw around with another patient's medicine? It's like we're all in the system here. So why not be able to do that? They could get the parameters of that together in a week. And we've seen them find a problem, write a bill, and have it signed in 6 days. It can be done. And I'm not talking about emergency. I forget what it was even now. It was, I think it was something we needed done, but it was like, oh, that was so bad. You know, it can be done. So this one here should be right up there with, if you're a medical student and you're going to graduate in 4 months, you can graduate now. We need you now.
Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah, that happened because of the pandemic, and now that same pandemic is being used as an excuse to not do other things that would help people during a pandemic. It drives me crazy. It's like you go a full circle and there it is again. I feel like I used to feel. In a way, it's good. You know, I'm feeling a little less lazy.
Right, he's
You
saying
used to feel something.
Yeah, part of me doesn't like this feeling and part of me knows I need it. You know, for all the protesting I've done, not this, I mean like showing up at somebody's office by myself, going for a long walk. I mean, out of the countless times I've done that, I've never I don't like it. Hard to believe I have a basic shyness. I mean, I always have. It's, you know, it's like more like being a shy actor, though, in most cases. But you know, I feel like the Kraken are going to be loose soon, and so I was saying earlier I didn't use any medicine before coming here because I wanted to come in my aggressive mood.
I'll be there early.
No. I was more scatterbrained than ever this morning. I had a smoke run to get out of the house.
right to the camera.
I'm gonna. I like the smaller, bigger. So, you know, in a vocal style, it would be no medical cannabis delivery during a pandemic. That's how you read that. Yeah. Kind of like a Lewis Black thing.
You need an exclamation point then.
Yeah, the letters started gathering to the right. I was worried it would look like who knows what. And one that's a little more particular, medical cannabis home delivery now. No room for an exclamation point. I'm losing my skills at Senator Singleton, Bill Collins, County in particular. And I talked with Senator Singleton's guy, Dave Smith, for over an hour about everything. I put all my cards on the table, make sure he knows that the problem I've had with Herb Conaway taking home grow out and never standing up and explaining why. Troy Singleton worked alongside Herb Conaway as a Democratic assemblyman
We'll stop you.
from 2010 to 2018. So in 2009, Herb Conaway pulled that home grow out of the Assembly bill as head of the Health Committee. Troy Singleton wasn't an assemblyman then. He became an assemblyman directly after that. And now he's a senator. And I'm wondering if there's a problem with me dealing with his office because I told Dave Smith, that's his real name, guy at Singleton's office, he was on the computer while he talked with me for an hour. Do you have any idea how long that is to talk to me? Few people can accomplish that. And he was always right there. Oh yeah, I got that up now. He's got a picture of it. He went to the website. You know, I explained how it worked with Herb Conaway. And he looked at the website and Kathy D's, the leadpatientsgrow.com website. Right, so he saw how it worked for Senator Singleton's former assemblymate, same district, and that his office's email trail with my better half, she's a constituent, is Kathy D's email trail look horrible. It makes Herb Conaway his office look totally like everybody says. You know, everybody makes claims about they never this, they always that. It sounds like wow, wow, wow. But it isn't. It's true. And unless it happens to you, you don't know what it's like. So to be able to put that up there and have it in writing and look how long it takes to get here when it could have been one conversation, 10 minutes, and it's 3 months. You know, that's a run out the clock style. So where we sit with that is, I had that talk with Dave. He said, don't go, or don't be not available for me. I'm going to be using you as my resource. And I'm thinking, I'm feeling pretty good. I like that. Nobody's ever said that, you know. Then I thought, let me give him time to get into this. The suggestion was that he work with Senator Gopal because both came in at the exact same time, brand new, 2018. They've worked together on several things and they're very successful at it. You got Senator Gopal having a Jeff King sort of problem, you know. And then you got Singleton about to have a Jim Miller problem because Dave never got back in touch with me. It's been over a month. I gave him all that rope because with a straight face, I gotta go back. It's easy to have a straight face with this, isn't it? With a straight face, I gotta look him in the face on a FaceTime call and say, so listen, I'll bet you got some good news for me now. What have we been doing? What's up? What do you got? And I'm gonna have a list of, you didn't FaceTime. I got it right underneath me. It looks like it's up here, you know. Some of this works for us. But that's about to go on there. It'll come with, that's on. I'm thinking I should put like Dave with a question mark or something on it, you know. I mean, that would look nice for a picture and out here with that as a backdrop. I'll need a picture of that at some point.
Well, I could take a picture right now. Here, screenshot.
Well, it has to do with this.
No, stand here. Just right here. Screenshot. Screenshot. Screenshot.
What's that?
You can each hold one and stand next to you, and then you have all three of them in a row and send that.
Screenshot. There it is.
Cover our faces.
Screenshot. There's your screenshot. That's a good one.
I just love listening to Woody Woodpecker theme song for the cartoon when you're in a parking garage. So I've gotten good at it, but I find even in a line, if I start whistling, I won't be able to now. Be like, I'm too dry. But it's more. I'm not taking this off. I got coffee. It's people can't exactly tell where it's coming from, and. Is this not a great idea? I mean, it looked good on Jimmy Kimmel. First thing I thought of is face masks are going to be around for a long time. And I thought, you get a picture of your face on cloth made into a face mask. And then he came out like at the show later or something with that. And it really looked different. You could tell it was him. You could see it. It blended. So
that's great.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a nice thing to have? And in any room you go to any meeting, anything where you have to have a face mask on, and you put that on. Or somebody you'd like to look like. Hey, I've always said I had Chris Christopherson's eyes. You know, you get a picture of him, you know. But I'm real disappointed that I thought Dave. He looked up everything. He knows I get arrested. I told him I got one more arrest left in me because I knew in 2004 when I was arrested at a George Bush the Idiot rally. And I say that with affection for him these days. I'm just saying, you know, he's more like me than any other president, a little not quite right. But I got arrested at a rally and knew right then one more, you know, that'd be a third, and I would go a fourth if I want to save it for something special, and nothing's ever been that special. The long and short of it is, the first time it pays for me to say no and follow through, it's going to be because it'll be publicity that I wouldn't otherwise be able to buy, and that's just the bottom line right there, you know. So A good tactic for all you budding activists. When you're in an office and the conversation comes to, okay, you're going to have to leave. Not that it happens with everybody, but it happens with me a lot. You do this. Tell me I'm going to have to leave.
Sir, you have to leave.
Apparently not. And then I go back. And then it'll be, what would your next thing be?
So you have to leave or I'm going to call the police.
See, you were wrong in the beginning. You said you're going to have to leave. Now, you could back up to calling the police. That's fine. Then you would call the security police. They would come. He tells them that. Then the police say you're going to have to leave. And you go, okay, when can I get a copy of the police report about this, by the way? You know, let the records show they called the police on somebody for not being done with a conversation. Actually called the police. So if you're a patient, you know, it works to your...
However long they decide the conversation.
What do you think? I should write this stuff up.
Yeah, where's the book at, Jim?
Oh, well, if I wrote the book on how to be a better advocate or activist, it would be a worst seller. I'm looking, bestseller, worst seller. Nobody'd buy it. Absolutely not with that attitude.
Yeah, not with that attitude right then.
That was good. Actually, the under the breast part was good. That was good.
Thank you.
There's so much that people can learn from you, and there's so much knowledge that, like, for me, I used to sit there and listen to you talk. Because I enjoy it. I really do hear it. It's more than just you talking at me. You're really talking to me to teach me more about things that I should already know as just a human being. But a lot of times, just...
You know, the hardest part of being a medical cannabis advocate is getting inside legislators' heads why they do something, because you start out thinking it's for people who really need help. It's for that group they would normally be proud to help and then brag about it and turn it into a campaign commercial.
people like us.
So,
You can physically see the disability.
but it comes back to that this medicine is discriminated against. It's like it gained its right to be medicine. It was always, you're not medicine. You know, you're not the same. You're not medicine. Okay, it is medicine. To the point that you got to have a law to protect it and say it's the same as other medicine in New Jersey. And this is where we are.
A law to protect us. So
But it's not the same though, and it's not the same at all, because we do have, you know, I mean, where it comes from, you know, or anything. It's but if the medicine is discriminated against, and it is, it's discrimination. It's based on bias. It's based on racial bias, marijuana.
Yeah.
You know, where it was said, easily findable too, that it black men, for whichever way they phrase that, use marijuana to lure white women. That was part of the fear part of it.
Yeah.
So, okay, now it's become medicine, but we know how that goes. You get your equal rights, doesn't mean you have equal rights. Now, we've come to a really better understanding of this as a country in the last 3 freaking months. Oddly enough, I thought I really didn't have anything to learn about that, and I've done nothing but learn in the last 3 months that no, as a white person, I do not know what it's like. No matter how much I see or hear, I don't. And that's become clear to me. So it's still, the discrimination obviously exists. So will that carry over, even if we don't make a direct connection, to the fact that if cannabis as medicine is discriminated against, the patients who use it are discriminated against,
If you're on OxyContin, I can go to the pharmacy and pick up your OxyContin for you.
Yeah, you don't even need
No
ID.
problem. No questions asked.
You could do that if you heard me say now or I told you, okay, he'd be going. If I told you, yeah, Dr. Sussman has a prescription for me at the CVS in Morristown, I got to go pick it up.
Did you hear that?
Man, you could get on your bike, get down there quick and go, I'm here to pick up a prescription for Jim Murphy, Dr. Sussman.
For a deadly drug
Yeah.
that kills
Or,
thousands.
or it can be
Clinical
delivered.
cannabis.
It can be delivered to your door.
And delivered.
Oh,
And
you're
delivered.
allowed to deliver
With some
it.
booze.
Yeah.
I don't know my pharmacy. I guess because of my proximity to Camden, they won't do home delivery. Pick up narcotics,
There's a
that you
difference,
have
yeah.
to show ID and know my birthday, my address. Like they don't make it easy, and I
But
can only
they
go
have
to
the
2
right
pharmacies
to
in
do
my
it. I'm not
area to
talking
get that.
about- I'm not talking about whether or not it gets done as much as
Oh.
whether or not you have the right to have
Gotcha.
it delivered. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like, will it end up costing money? I don't know. Sales tax is still being paid. Actually, it went down on the 1st. It is now only
It's
for.
going down the first.
It's not the first
It's
yet.
not the first yet.
There we go again.
Couple more days. Yes,
Hey, I don't have a calendar or clock. I don't know what's going on.
Oh,
You know.
yeah, because the program's
So,
Every day's Friday.
but we have all that as a backdrop, and what I'm seeing with Black Lives Matter is it's not all Black Lives marching. It's not even the majority at many marches, and that is what is really raising my expectations. So does that mean that it won't be 90% patients doing whatever they can and maybe a few actual overall advocates sprinkled in at best? You know? We have all the pieces, and soon enough this is going to be more open and people. But Brenda Flanagan, who did that story where Jeff Brown said those things like home delivery, vehicle procurement, we have to be able to track the transactions. It's almost a year, you know. So Brenda Flanagan did that story, and she's like an icon. But when she was on the job 4 months in 1993, and she turned on her TV, and she saw Cheryl Miller on ABC News and me walking a wheelchair across the state, and she said, holy shit, and gave a call and asked me, why didn't you tell us about this? I said, yeah, everybody was faxed, including you, it just didn't get to you. Could I come over to now? She came over that night. There was a 3-minute piece that was like a mini soap opera, violins, panning into Cheryl and away, fade in, fade out. She did a great story. She made a name for herself 4 months doing a story on Cheryl. One time when UPN 9 was not allowed into Bon Jovi's fundraiser for Al Gore, the guy was pissed. He was out there with this big dish on a truck. He goes, how dare not let me in? I got fucking presidential clearance. Tell me I can't get it, blah, blah, blah. And I go, hey, it's Brenda Flanagan. And he looks, and there's Cheryl in the wheelchair and me and Gary Sage, you know. And I said, Brenda Flanagan still work here? Well, yeah. Tell her Jim Miller said hi. What are you doing? Told him. He goes, I'm going back, try to get in one more time. They don't let me in. I'm doing 2 minutes on you. He comes running back 5 minutes later, tells the guy, let's go, we're in. And the truck rides away and goes, he was able to get in. I'm like, Cheryl, the threat of you being on TV got him in to a presidential campaign fundraiser for a sitting vice president. We slit our own throats that day. But I'm leading up to the point where I'm going to get back in touch with Brenda Flanagan. She'll want to do as a follow-up to the story she just did. There's always going to be updates. You want to update for it. It left us there. Now it's going to be a month later. What's going on with that home delivery? Because it was, on the horizon, more dispensaries and home delivery. You know?
Right.
So anyway, you get something like that, And if it's scheduled, that opens doors to senators' offices you have no business. Oh yeah, I do, but okay, well, from their that's what I do is I get into their head so much when I'm talking about it. Sometimes I talk like almost like we, because it's kind of hard to get into their heads, but the rules are simple. And back in the day when it wasn't this easy and this fast and this connected, and I wrote a snail mail letter on Wednesday to then Assemblyman Holsapfel saying Cheryl and I were gonna do an interview on Friday for Adelphia Cable TV, you know, and here's where we stand. And I had a Sunday morning or even Thursday, it was like an immediate response. And that is possible if you can think like somebody in the media. Dan, we're always open for advice on that one. I would trust you to understand motives for people and how that works, because you're simply much closer to that, you know. Much like I trust Bill Caruso for what's going on in there. Whether he's right or wrong, he has a way better foundation, you know. I mean, if we're building pyramids, I'm like 5 rows up, but getting quicker, and he's up here, you know. It's really a hard spot for me to be in, somewhere between really pissed off, which I should be, and laid back, which I like.
You should be too.
Yeah,
Right,
but
you
it
should
can't
be
be
able
all
to
or
be.
nothing, and you know,
Right.
and there's got to
You
be
should
something
be
better
able
than
to
right in the middle.
We can't. Patients need people to fight for them. We got to fight.
Patients need to be more visible. We've never taken proper care of that. I'd say that's my fault, but
Yeah, you need more people.
I've put
You
it.
need
No,
to rap
we
more
need
rallies.
we need more video communication, and people are getting better at it now. But when I say more video communication, all letters should have an attachment, a 10 to 20-second message attached to it. Every email ever written, an attachment where you look right at the camera and you put the exclamation point on it. And then if that was going to be on a website like letpatientsgrowNewJersey.com, that's where it all works.
Nice to see you again.
What's going on? I don't think you were using a walker last time I saw you.
No, I don't remember. I think, no, I wasn't. But yeah, due to the accident, I'm still lose my balance.
Oh.
So
you don't wanna
I'm
do
stuck
that.
with this for right now.
Yeah.
If you have a jetpack, I can get rid of this.
Yeah. I'll take
Well,
one too.
you know,
Yeah.
the fact that you are getting around under your own power, I hope it doesn't hurt, you know.
Sometimes, but
Yeah.
you know what?
I do know what.
I try to wake up every morning, have a positive attitude, and don't worry about, you know, all the injuries, all the stuff, because once you do that, it makes everything a lot worse. So
Yeah, that's a fact.
I walked up to Save-A-Lot the other day and walked home. Took my time. Yeah, it was,
Doesn't matter how long it takes.
No,
But then
I
you
just-
get back,
yeah, I just
That's
take my
a
time.
win for the day.
Yeah.
Coronavirus concern number 52. It's that far away. And we don't share.
No, you can't share.
We don't share.
You can't share.
What is it?
It's my
It's
cannabis.
something I don't have.
So why
it gets
didn't
me,
anybody
it gets me
bring
from here to there like
to
that.
clean?
I have stuff. I have wipes.
Meanwhile,
clean it
I
up.
either finished a joint or
I could do that.
half of
There
one.
you go. That way, it's Jim. It's not like it's anybody else. You know.
Oh shit.
Jim, I will clean this for you.
What's that?
Sanitize it.
I will
for you.
sanitize this for you.
Do you need some white?
No, it's all right. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good enough. I lost half of that other joint. I didn't go anywhere.
It was in your thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I know,
No,
but that's
whole-
the mystery. It's not.
Oh.
On the table? I saw it somewhere.
Listen, ever since I saw Sausage Party, the cartoon,
Found it?
the cartoon where food comes alive and at a grocery store overnight, it's a cartoon. It's called Sausage Party. Yeah, stuff just disappears with me all the time.
Just say it's all
What the hell
right.
happened to the... Are we still filming? Yeah,
What's filming? This?
that's me.
Everything
got it-
kind of
got it
blew
sitting right
this
here.
way a little while ago, so.
So this will though, this one here.
Oh, I found it.
What? Unarmed. You want to get it?
You tell me how it got that far away.
Well,
If it's
everything
sausage
blew.
party, what happens is it's like, still, they see you. You know, right? It wasn't moving, right? Yeah.
Right.
That's what happens in that. It's a cartoon, but I'm not so sure.
R-rated. Of sorts.
But anyway, this is the notice to Senator Singleton.
Singleton?
Well, not to him. It's to Dave Smith, one of his staff member, constituent relations, I believe,
Lackeys.
who we talked for an hour, and he was actually asking all the right questions.
Ready?
We ran out of things to say. That's never happened. I didn't know what the silence was all of a sudden. It's like we covered it all.
I mean,
Now,
what-
he may be doing other things about it I don't know of, but it's been my experience there's not a legislator that's going to be in and out of that building this year that doesn't call back and brag to a constituent when they've done something for them that they were asked to do. They don't just not get back in touch with you.
Yeah.
Would you do this for me? And they do it.
No attaboys.
They don't not send a look what I did for you email. Then they get the thank you emails and they feel like they're doing something. But my problem was when they passed Jake's law, be that day. I'm not saying I wasn't thrilled. For one, I don't have to go back every 3 months to see a doctor, you know, all sorts of fun stuff like
What's
that.
Jake's law?
Jake's Law was the largest, at one time, improvement to our medical cannabis law. It was part of the attempt at legislating legalization. It was hijacked actually by the help legalization get passed. But when it became evident that wasn't going to happen, they couldn't vote on just Jake's Law because it was now part of this. It had to be, you know, you had to schedule an operation and then you had to have it cut and then you had
Yeah, all
to
the
have it over
bullshit.
here till it recuperates and becomes its own bill. And then it got passed on July 2nd last year. But everybody,
There's one that's got a hole in it.
everybody was, not everybody, a lot of patting themselves on the back. Assemblyman Joe Danielson said that Jake's Law made our program the most innovative program in the country.
Yeah.
That's a pretty heady statement.
So
You know what else was innovative? The Edsel. How'd that work out? The Edsel. See that? There's a card. It was so innovative, it disappeared like a dinosaur just like that. So Joe Danielson is semantically correct. It would be the most innovative bill because we were the only program that didn't allow home grow at that time when we
Studebaker.
became.
Like a Studebaker.
Yeah, okay, like a
There's
student
car,
bit.
like released in the 40s that failed like spectacularly.
is that along with the Titanic?
No, that was a well-made boat. That was a captain
No,
problem.
it wasn't from the
No,
funniest
it
car.
was actually a boiler problem,
Yeah,
and they think when it left.
and it caused it to go off course into an iceberg.
No, there was other problems.
No, there were problems. It was
Yeah.
it was
looked safe.
overlapping problems for sure.
Yeah,
And design.
and it,
yeah.
and it weakened.
The bulkheads didn't go all the way up.
Yeah.
If the bulkheads went all the way up, they could have had
Yeah.
1/5 the water. But anyway,
no, it weakened the boiler fire weakened the bulk plates, the rivets and stuff.
No,
And
there's
they
a
said,
rubber.
and they think there was an explosion as it was going down. So who knows what was in there?
What was the real?
so this is what Jeff Brown did say. This would be the quote. Jeff Brown said they.
Yes.
When he says they, Jeff Brown, would he mean the state or the medical marijuana program, Department of Health?
Those guys.
If he says they, you would think it'd be them. Anyway, they need this is almost a year later. This is like 11 months after it was okay
Happy
to do.
anniversary.
They
Happy
need delivery
anniversary.
vehicles. Okay, they need personnel. 11 months later, they need personnel for that.
Happy anniversary. Happy
What does that mean?
anniversary.
They don't have
Happy
the people.
anniversary. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Okay, then he said, on our side, oh, here's what they need to do. Their side, they need vehicles. On our side, we need the regulatory capacity to ensure that, number one, we're tracking those transactions. They need the regulatory capacity. Does that mean the legislature needs to do something
It's
for
easier
them?
just order fentanyl and booze.
Does that
Jim.
mean that it's not
Just
it's
get some
not,
fentanyl.
the regulations aren't promulgated
vodka.
yet? I mean, what does that even mean?
Some VO,
But he did end it with some hope.
some Schlitz.
Jeff Brown gave us some hope.
Get some
at the end.
Schlitz.
That's a bad beer. Oh, nice.
He said, I feel like we're close and I'm hoping we'll have good news on that soon.
A true politician.
Anyway, Phil Murphy said he wants to see expansion of medical dispensaries. So he's moved on to that now because we did good on Jake's Law, except the implementation. But he says,
the other things I think have been
now think home
child
delivery.
custody.
All right, get home delivery, get all that in your head. And when our governor says, we need to treat our residents with compassion. We cannot turn a deaf ear to our veterans, the families of children facing terminal illness, or any other countless New Jerseyans who only wish to be treated like people, not criminals. That applies to everybody. It's sort of like you'd be treated like a criminal if you had somebody else's medicine delivering it.
Quick commercial break. This is brought to you by UFCW Local 152, union grown. UFCW Local 152. If you want a union job, contact Hugh Giordano, 609-680-5718, 609-680-5718. H. Giordano at ufcwlocal152.org. Okay. How to get that plug in. They're very helpful to us.
God bless you.
Hugh's the best. And Hugh's supporting our podcast, so he's sponsoring this whole segment.
Okay, how did it get back there?
What?
Found it?
It grew legs and jumped again?
No, I'm not messing around with you. Trust me. I know I know a breeze is the only thing I got, but you got to admit that's just sort of like
Right the second
Not
time,
blowing
right?
it.
And just about the same spot.
So you know what Joe Vitelli has to say?
Vitale?
Joe Vitelli,
Wait, when was
what?
this? Joe
the
Vitale
expansion of
Center?
our
He
program.
speaks? He can speak?
Well, he can type. He can type. We don't know that he can speak. He wished me good luck one time,
Oh, okay.
and he said that's not going to happen to me
Joe
one time.
Vitale.
Then he wished me
That
good luck, and actually it worked
right
out.
Here, and that was last
The
year.
expansion of our medical marijuana program is patient-centric and patient-first.
Ladies and
Oh
gentlemen,
my God, patient-first.
is this where the press conference is every day?
Probably. For the governor?
It's probably down the
Up the
street,
corner.
actually.
Up the corner. Corner building.
What's that? I'm sorry, in the corner
The
building?
corner building, yeah.
Last one on the left,
Yes.
right before the light.
Happens right in there. Thanks,
Yeah.
guys.
Yes,
Well,
you're welcome.
Can
Have
you
a
get
good
us in?
one.
Can you get us in?
I should get in. I'm getting my press pass.
Oh,
like a couple weeks out.
we're talking about
Excited, yeah.
home delivery for patients, sick and dying patients in a pandemic. We implemented.
Jeff, you got to call Jim Miller's number.
That sounded good short.
I can't take calls on YouTube. Jeff Oakes, call Jim.
I'm not sure.
Or mine.
Anyway, Joe Vitelli, he goes, with these long overdue reforms, we will treat patients with the dignity they deserve. This is what Joe, and includes home delivery. With these long overdue reforms, home delivery, we will treat patients with the dignity they deserve. Wouldn't that be having home delivery available?
Yeah. Step one.
Yeah, I put it.
Let's get step one now. Ready, step.
It's critically important
Ready,
that we
go.
provide relief to
How about
those
now?
with qualifying conditions right now.
How about now?
And this bill becoming law will do just that.
How about now?
Call him on the
Can we have it now? How about now?
Do we have it? How about now?
Do we have it?
Hey, I got
You
For
got Jeff,
over
folks?
a year.
Yeah.
Now
You got-
here's
Is that
Jeff.
Facebook?
here's the
Yeah.
time. I'll tell you. You're listening.
There you go.
For over a year.
Here, Jeff, you could join us here.
I'm a mess with all this YouTube
For over a
stuff
year,
and,
the Assembly
Facebook.
worked tirelessly with the governor and the Senate in an effort to responsibly expand the medical cannabis market, the program.
Make it work.
So they worked tirelessly for a year, getting all that done, getting it in and out of committee, passed on the floor, in and out of committee, passed on the floor, signed, and it took a year. A year later, we don't have home delivery. You see how much easier it is to implement home delivery than write a bill, get it passed, and pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
So,
We had Jeff on the line for you.
Yeah, Jeff's
Jen.
here.
now that it is enacted,
Jeff.
the legislation will provide patients
Who's
with
that?
another
Is that
treatment
Justin
modality
there?
which can give them relief for debilitating symptoms, said Assemblyman Andrew Zwicker. If I'm not mistaken, he might have been the guy when he was a freshman that came by and talked real quick on the podcast or was very supportive or something. I could be wrong, but
That's what Tracy said.
I remember as being the last in an alphabet.
All right, hold on.
So, to the current system, we need to make patient care. Individuals need and their individual needs a priority, and we should support them whatever they are in their lives. The priority, Assemblywoman Murphy, is actually having home delivery, not just have it legal, but have it. We don't have it. I believe they don't know. Whose
This is
fault
like
is
looking
that?
in like 2 years.
There's an assembly majority office and an assembly minority office, and there's a Republican, Senate, and each party has their own office, 4 offices. You can bring something there and make it a concern of their caucus. This is where the person who oversees the party as a whole, this is where you want them to be aware of stuff. And in our case, Senator O'Scanlan.
Jeff's on the line right here. We could talk to him.
Jeff! No way! I don't know if we can hear you, but we can
can
talk
hear you.
at you.
How you feeling?
I'm taking my temperature right now, and I'm eating Tylenols like one after another just to keep myself at 99. But yeah, I've had better days.
I got
Yeah, you guys are just bringing up Declan O'Scanlan, and I saw the article that I think Joanne Zito posted up on her page, or the Cannabis 2020 page yesterday. And I actually, excuse me, I sent him a private message today asking him to please call in, you know. He said he's been in touch with, I don't know the term he used, but I don't think he's been in touch with any of us, that's for sure. I begged him. I actually posted on his Facebook page. I'm like, you want to talk about medical? Here's the number. You know, and you know what I did? I put your number up there, Lefty, that you normally have for the call in. So I have my doubts that he will even call anyway. But you know, if he truly wants to know how the patients feel, this is obviously the channel and the place to be. To speak to the patients that need his help the most. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Jeff.
Go ahead, Jim.
Your Senator O'Scanlan was pretty integral in everything went on with Jake's Law, which, among other things, allows home delivery now. Now, almost a year later, we don't have home delivery. My question is, how do you feel about your Senator O'Scanlan, who did so much work getting the bill passed, and he did do work getting it passed? How do you feel about him being totally absent from the implementation of home delivery during a pandemic? Any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, it absolutely kills me, and I'm not using that as a
Yeah, you don't get to
as a
say that,
phrase.
man. Yeah, you don't get to say that.
I just saw a photo of him with the mayor of dining in, I guess, in Point Pleasant with Mayor, what's his name down there, and he's more interested in his 30-day restaurant tour than he is to actually communicating with people like myself that are terminal, or like many of us that have permanent disabilities that are going to last us the rest of our life. And, you know, it's terrible that we have to beg for our own lives or for something that can help us function. It's terrible.
You know, it's the fact that there doesn't seem the back patting and congratulations everybody did for the bill passage was immediate. It was a press conference where they all had a circle pat going.
Really?
Right.
That big, and they just got flowers on.
And
The guy that
there is little concern for the implementation of this to the point where your senator's name made it up on my sign about lack of implementation at this point, and attention to Singleton, Gopal, and O'Scallion. O'Scanlan. So I'd like to echo a question for you. Should I get anybody on the line from your senator's office? Is there one if it was about home delivery, it might help me really nail them. What would you ask them to do about home delivery as your senator?
Well, number one, I would suggest that they seriously start, working with the Board of Health and regulating the program like it should be to implement the things that actually pass into law, or Jake's law. Let me use it correctly, because interestingly enough, you had spoken before about how one of the purposes of Jake's law was to treat cannabis like any other medication. And ironically, we dump our state tax dollars into the hospitals that many of us depend on, and they don't even honor Jake's law. And I can refer you back to Lefty if you have. Lefty may have some thoughts, because he was in the hospital when they put me this away when I was in Monmouth Medical. So I would say to my legislators, any of them, like, hey, go to these facilities and say, hey, if you don't get on board with this, you're not going to get your handouts or you're part of what I understand to be, almost $450 million that the state hands out to these places, only for them to pretty much mock. If you've been in the hospital enough and you read the patient's rights, they actually, in one part of it, refer to, and I quote, the Constitution. And I asked the administrative people that were in my hospital room, I said, what Constitution is that? I said, is that the state Constitution or the federal Constitution? They could not even give me a good answer.
That's
both. How about both?
You got them with that. They weren't willing to even give it a 50-50. They needed a lifeline call, like who, the millionaire. Can I use my lifeline? That don't work. So anytime you get to talk to somebody like that, it does some good. The reason I ask you how you feel in particular about O'Scanlan, I had a great talk, or so it seemed, with Dave Smith in Senator Singleton's office, and I thought we might get somewhere on home cultivation for patients with him working with Senator Gopal, because their history says they work together successfully. They're a good team. And it was nothing but sounded good to Dave, but he hadn't got back in touch with me, and that's never a good sign. And I didn't get back in touch with him because I'm giving him an extra amount of rope for the noose that's slowly winding around his neck. That I want to I want to approach aggressively without being aggressive about it. The three of them is a team. And say basically it should be introduced by the two Democrats with a Republican as a primary co-sponsor, first co-sponsor, to keep an eye on. And this way it won't get all Democratic, it'll be a bipartisan bill. So if you don't go, it's going to be a Democrat's bill, and it's the kind of things that they respond to sometimes. But you, my friend, are potentially the most powerful influence because of the effort to really call any reform you take part in any reform you put part of your body on the line for, it deserves to be just law, man. Nobody does what you did. Nobody in a situation similar to yours has gone to the wall like you, except for possibly Cheryl Miller. So
I was just gonna say that, Tim. I'm glad I've been around.
You are,
And I hope I can stay around to see her work
equal.
finished.
Yeah,
Because
it's true, dude.
it should, our illnesses and our suffering should not be Democrat or Republican. It's terrible. And to think that we're all still suffering and begging for help from these people how many years later is an atrocity.
Our medicine has always been discriminated against, and it gained equal rights in New Jersey in 2010, and then it had a law to protect it, a law saying it has the same right years later. And we have found out lots in the last 3 months that there's a difference between getting legal civil rights of any kind or patient rights or anything and actually having them. You know, even when home delivery starts, even when home grow happens, it's still not the same as anybody else's medicine. It's green.
Exactly.
It's the wrong color. I mean, I'm just saying, it's like, I've had enough. And like I've been saying here today, the only time patients don't come in second is when they come in third or fourth. And it's enough.
Right.
And just talking to you today, dude, I feel like I'm back, man. I feel like the Kraken is ready to be released. I really do. I want to thank you for that. Because as Lefty and I say at the end of every podcast we've done, our job is to make people feel bad, because that's what motivates. And you made me feel bad in a good way. You know what I mean by that too. I know you do.
Oh, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, because
at the end of the day, we as patients, we have the answer. Give us home grow.
It's I'll be pretty clear as well with Senator Singleton's office. See, what happened was Kathy, my better half, is a constituent. So she called them up, got them on the phone, and said right away, okay, this is really between you and Jim and who I'll put them on. So we got over that hump right away. But when I get back in touch with the office, I'm going to be quite clear. It was simply talking with you, getting FaceTime with you, that pushed me right back into the ring, and there's nothing I can do about it. You helped draft me back, and I appreciate it. I've been lazy lately. I've not been the Jim Miller I used to love. I have a lot of other things going on. It was never an excuse before, and the fact is, because when it stopped affecting Cheryl, I let up, and I promised her I wouldn't.
When I got sick and I started learning the whole story, and I watched the videos of you guys going down to Washington, I was like, holy shit.
You would
what
understand.
the hell is it that people have to do?
Yeah.
You know? It's terrible. And it's, and we get back to the name of our movement, ignorance is no excuse. And I'll add to the conversation about Monmouth Medical Hospital when Lefty was up there with me.
Was that the one I saw?
Yeah, I'm sure there was a couple.
No, there was the one where you were then.
It took
then
you weed like
I
3
wanna-
times.
I want to talk to somebody about my right to die. Okay,
Yeah,
that was the
one point you
same
had to
night.
use the bathroom,
It was
and you
insane.
went and you turned around to the police. One guy went like this, like, come on, and you both went into the bathroom together.
Yeah,
And
I wanted to see
I
him-
thought
I
that was
wanted
that was the most hardcore advocacy I'd ever seen in my life. A simple, no, I got to go to the bathroom. You think I'm going to do something? You're all suspicious about me. You simply gave him that, and he followed you in, and I was so proud of you right then, man.
I wanted him to watch me dump my medicine down the toilet.
Yeah, he was gonna
I
flush his
wanted him
weed.
to watch me,
Yeah.
at that time, which I thought, and the reason I was in the hospital is because I couldn't stand traditional chemo anymore, the infusions. And they attempted to put me on chemo pills. And I tried 2 doses of it, and I was really supposed to take this stuff every day. And my body wouldn't tolerate it, and it landed me in the hospital twice. But what I can say, when I spoke with the administrators at Monmouth Medical, and of course the first thing they do is throw the policy in your face, and I read their policy on cannabis, and they actually took the wording out of Jake's law and put it in the policy. Wow. I was like, people are quoting Jake's law, and you don't even know what it is. I'm like, who wrote this up? A security guard? I'm like, come on, man. I'm telling you, it was like, and then I'm like, okay, you guys are going to take my medication away? That's the last chance I have. Okay? If you're going to do that to me, I'd like to speak to somebody about, next question is, are you thinking of hurting yourself? I said, well, kind of, yeah.
It's hurting yourself if you do it, but it's helping you if they do it.
Well, I don't want to watch my family watch me suffer.
And I'm just saying they have very strange dividing lines. You played that out so stoically. It was really admirable. It's always been the visuals, not just the pictures, the video of patients to where you can feel them, that really motivates people. And no doubt that there'll be a segment of what we're talking about now, if you don't mind, put up on letpatientsgrow.com, and we'll be talking about a scallion. I call him a scallion. I'm gonna do that by accident one time because of you. I swear, man, it got in my head. It's just an easy way to remember it.
I know.
No, I'm like that guy.
Yeah.
I have fun with it as well.
Yeah, but the thing is, as a constituent, that door is not just open for you because you're a constituent. It's open because other people could see otherwise. So it's that there's the possibility that anything you do will be public, that he has to play ball to a certain extent. But when it comes to you having people pushing him, and when I say leaning on him, I mean in a way that's acceptable, the convergence of that might be something that gets him to move a little. And believe me, Senator Singleton's going to think real quick about not doing something for me as soon as he finds out where we are. And I'm pretty sure Senator Gopal is responsive to Jeff King. So between these 3 senators, we're saying, screw you, Nick Scutari. We need young blood. We need somebody who understands that this is a good thing. You've served your usefulness. Don't get in our way or we will run you over and drag you down the road. That's going to be the inference here. We don't need any of the old guard. This is a good idea, and they are first-term senators that work together as Democrats. A scallion there to keep them honest. the bill, whatever they wrote, would have a chance of passing. Patients could bitch about it all they want, but the first time they have one of whatever amount of plants they got growing up, it's going to all disappear, you know, and it'll need work. But at home cultivation, my whole push for get that home delivery done now. I mean now. It can be done in a week. It could be done in way less time than they're making it look like. But you get to push real hard on home delivery. I mean, you get to pretty much, you get forgiven for however aggressive you get outside of being, you know, loud and violent or anything. But I'm talking about tactics that are straight out good tactics for home delivery. There's nobody that won't understand the travesty of not getting it done before a pandemic, but then not getting it done during the pandemic either. So they're going to have to do damage control on that. Now we're talking, now we're dealing with them, and to get us to accept their damage control on home delivery, then we pivot directly back to home cultivation where we wouldn't need home delivery. And if we can get some more people on board as patients working with their senators especially, if we do that for home delivery, we have a pretty good base to really have a good push on home cultivation. So I see one as a means to the other. That's why we had the petition in the first place. It wasn't a petition, it was a first step so you could have a second step. You can't skip the petition, but it also gets us emails of people that we can now try to corral again. And one more thing, it's not for lack of effort, but until I find somebody who can do a spreadsheet, work with me
Oh, I can do a spreadsheet.
on yeah, okay. We got a candidate, but I'm taking candidates plural. There could be somebody you learn from. No, I'll
I
take
like
you.
formatting them.
No, this is something you might be good at, Dan. Anyway, I hope to get to where a spreadsheet, because I can get letters written to legislators about home delivery. It'll be a very short letter from all the patients who we wanted to take part in the home cultivation effort at letpatientsgrow.com. We're going to pivot to home delivery to get people interested. It's going to go quick, and they're going to feel motivated and empowered because it'll be a success. They will see what success tastes like, what it feels like, to push something that took almost a year, that if we get serious and get shit done before the end of next month, everybody's going to feel like taking the next step, and we do a quick pivot to home grow then, home cultivation. So it's the three senators we're talking about, Senator, and he fits in so well. It's a really, really integral part, and you got more power than everybody else combined on this issue. So, and you know, man, look, I'm just going to say without explanation that all the other bullshit in my life, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, it just makes sense, like, yeah, whatever. It's if nothing else, I'm feeling equally bad that I got kind of lazy for a few months with the fact that
I don't feel bad, Jim.
that I'm gonna make sure I get something done about it. That's my insurance policy, you know.
We all get that way, Jim.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just you know, what we've all been up against for years is it does that to you.
Well,
that no Scanlon, I mean, we can't forget. You know, he did support us, and I even used some of his quotes that he made to the press. I used them at some of the council meetings that we went to around New Jersey. You know, so I gotta hand it to him. The guy's gotta have a heart in there somewhere. He, you know, this chemo medication that I had tried going back 3 or 4 months ago. A very good friend of mine from town. Well, I don't think she'll mind mentioning her name. She was a councilwoman in town. Her name's Patty Cooper. She started a GoFundMe page, and Senator O'Scanlan did contribute to the fund. You know, I sent him a personal message just
Sorry,
thanking
come
him.
in back in.
So I know he wants to try. You know, and when it comes to home grow, I think I read the article yesterday that Joanne Zito posted, and he talked about, I think, some sort of pilot program for home grow.
Yeah, that's a diversion.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, it's so over-regulated, and it really, the stated objective would be to make sure patients are capable of doing it. You know, it's insulting, and what it does is it delays it for tens of thousands of people, and it might be, 100 or 200 patients in a pilot program.
yeah, and it's pathetic, because how would they regulate it? What, are they going to come into your yard?
Yeah,
You know,
well,
or into your home?
you know, that'll be an interesting discussion when they finally get around to discussing it. These are all very valid questions, and dividing lines are going to be tough for them.
Yeah.
But we're really going to need more. When I say backup from patients, I can imagine a lot of the questions and concerns, like already are now, is people like you who will maybe not be, well, you know, I guess we do so much thing like Zoom stuff anyway, actually maybe will, you know, depending on when we all get back indoors. But patients have to be visible, and if it's not a Zoom meeting, they can always be represented, because videos and selfies can be so easily transferred and made public and passed about. So once we break through some sort of logjam that gets that from happening, you know, I'm talking about the TikTok version. What is that, 20 seconds or something?
I don't understand TikTok.
No, I'm just,
Snapchat,
okay,
if you will.
what I'm saying is, that's what we already do.
TikTok's
If
weird.
it's not a 5-minute video or a 1-minute video, a 12-second video. If I said, Jeff, get me a killer statement about something in 16 seconds, you'd come up with a line of them, because it could be 10 16-second things. And then God forbid a senator walks into a trap and says something that patients have already weighed in on, that there is a jump take lineup of answers to what that person says, he's toast. It's like, well, you know, I'd answer that for you, but let me run this by you. Boom! So it's going to be the video that does it, whether it's a Zoom meeting or we get snippets there. And again, I'm assuming you're good about having a snippet of this put up on letpatientsgrow.nj.com.
I tell everyone my life's an open book. My story's an open book.
Yeah. Well, that's the old ex-podcast buddy in me that always had to go, you're on the air.
You're on the air.
You're on the air. It's sort of like, even when you assume it's okay with somebody, you know, you get them to say so.
It's
You hear me, Pete Christopher?
stuff in emails, you know, to many people all over the state legislators and stuff. But with this pandemic, it's very hard to have an effect, because it's real easy for somebody to, you know, not ideally say, I didn't see the video, or, you know, I got to watch it again. When you're there in person, they can't look away from you. And it's terrible that, you know, well, basically, you know, there's other people, but it was Lefty, myself, Jeff King, Mike V. You know, I mean, it took Mike bringing a bong into council meetings. It's like, how desperate do we have to be?
Yeah.
So, but like I said, with that pandemic, we don't have that opportunity to make those in-person visual impacts on people. One of my favorites, ironically, was, and it was a wonderful night. It was in Seager, and I think I got up and spoke first, and Mike was outside putting his Bongholio costume on. And then he came into the room as there was I think the chief of police was talking. And the chief couldn't see him because the door was behind the chief. Everybody else in the room could see it, but the chief couldn't. And he couldn't figure out why everyone was laughing. He thought everybody was laughing at him. And he didn't do a double take. He did a triple take.
Yeah, triple take.
But I think I got up and spoke first, I think before Mike started and Lefty started singing. I said, please do not be offended. I said, please keep an open mind. And ironically, it was one of the best responses and I didn't expect it because Seagirt is a very wealthy town, and typically they're very anti-cannabis, and the council did not come off like that. I was so pleasantly surprised with Seagirt.
So where was it? Where I watched one of the council meetings that ended in applause. It should be an isolated incident, I would think. Were you there, or Lefty? You know which one that was?
Was that Field?
Well, I'm just saying that up at and that Lefty does show up at. It's done so within their guidelines. Even when you have a bong and all, it's done with nothing but politeness, with respect.
Within your rules.
But well within the rules.
He's got a funny looking coat, that's all.
There's really no sarcasm involved.
No, it's a silly looking coat and that he wears. Mike wears that coat to keep warm sometimes.
But people have gotten more used to doing things like FaceTime on telephone, Zoom meetings, and I think patients, I'm ready to give it another try, to say we need selfie videos sent to answer certain questions. Here's the premise real quick. There's a question like, what would home delivery mean to you? Boom. And then keep it to 12 seconds as an example, or even less, because you can say different things about it 8 to 12 seconds at a time. And then boom, that's one. Then do another 8 to 12 seconds. Then what happens is you take them and you say one question and it's one patient answering, jump takes to another patient, back to the first one, then to somebody you haven't seen before, all with, it's so easily doable without patients doing really anything. And it's that easy to do. So we anticipate the questions. And when it comes time for the home grow discussion for real, my God, I could be at anywhere and somebody'd ask me a question about like, well, what this or what. If I could go right to somewhere and have patients answer it and say, here, take a look, and you'd see them, they become more real. Now, when you're in a legislator's office and you say, go to letpatientsgrownj.com, they have their computer out. You're talking to somebody with a laptop or a computer right there. They can go to it. Then you show them where to go, and that's their answer. They see how public it can be, but you are right. It has to be the visual. Picture's worth 1,000 words. Video's worth 1,000 pictures. I've done the math. That's 1,000,000 to 1. A video is worth a million words. I have no trouble with a million words. So, holy crap, Jeff, how are you doing? You look you look good. You look determined. You look like you're as in the game as ever and ready to go for more.
I've never lost my wits, I can tell you that. Physically, I don't have the energy. As you probably saw, I'm in bed right now. I really haven't been out of bed. I started some new treatment that I'm going up to East Brunswick to Robert Woods for, where they actually stick a catheter up through one of my arteries in my groin right into my liver, and they deposit radioactive beads. So I had one treatment. They think I need one more. most likely in another month or so. But then I also have a few spots in my lungs, but they're not really concerned about those. They said that those are very slow growing. So for me, my limitations are mostly fatigue and the pain from the cancer in my liver is constantly gnawing at me. And I'm probably one of maybe a handful of patients that have unlimited monthly amounts, and I can't access it. So I had no choice but to start to use fentanyl patches. And it stinks. That's the way I get by now. And unfortunately, I can feel myself. I've never been addicted to opiates, but I can feel the pull from it. I don't even find. I have morphine. I have 3 medications. I have fentanyl. I have morphine. I have oxycodone at my disposal, but I don't feel drawn to them. I can say that. I do not enjoy the experience at all. I would have much rather had, my cannabis paid for legitimately through, a bona fide insurance program or whatever, or whether it's homegrown or anything else. I really never got my chance to really dose myself extremely heavily with cannabis because of the financial burdens,
Yeah.
And that's something pretty much every one of the patients in the program can feel, because many of us don't work anymore. We're on disability. We have limited monthly amounts. We have families to look after. Of course, I also support. I hate to call it recreational because I don't think the two terms belong together. Cannabis.
Well, let's
I don't.
call it social use. As I've been trying to get people to call it social use by adults. I drink socially. I figure I smoke socially. I mean, I don't, as a rule, play games and recreate after smoking. I tend to do the opposite. But there was a time when, if you're going to be playing beach volleyball, you doing that with a joint in your mouth, and because it was recreational. But, it is, it's spiritual use for a lot of people too, if nothing else, I mean, whether they know it or not.
Absolutely. It's hard to convey to someone. My father passed it on to me. He always had his garden in the yard.
It starts here.
And when I got my house, I continued the tradition. I actually got to get it from my mother's house. It's in the garage still somewhere. Pop's garden. So I always carried on his tradition. And, the peace that you get from, growing your own food. Forget about growing your own medicine. It makes you feel better about, fighting what you're up against, whatever
I got that.
you have, or disease or disability. Which, getting back to homegrown, I wanted to say before, a pilot program, like I said, what does that look like anyway? But I think that if patients are allowed to grow for themselves, they should also be allowed to grow for other patients.
Yeah. And they should,
that's almost a no-brainer.
Well, that's a no-brainer for the reason that, the patients you don't grow what you need. You grow more than you need, because if something happens to one plant, you don't run out of medicine. So what do you do with the overage is exactly it's the only question the opposition has to do, Well, we got to have a whole system. I mean, they have overages at dispensaries and they have volumes on what to do with it and how to everything. They could be giving that away. They do it in California, was it Berkeley or Cooperative or something, and once a week they give it away. But there's something before I forget, and trust me, I'm getting medicated enough where that's a 50-50 right there, that I want to get about 5 or 6 questions together, and I'll message you, and because I know you'll do this, to get, it doesn't matter how short it is, but trying to max things out, bullet points to 12 seconds. But even some, it's like, why, the question is why, whatever, and the answer is, because it's the right thing to do. Boom, that's 2 seconds. But when you put snippets together, it becomes a conversation, not of 12-minute bursts. And if you do that, and I have Mary Pangburn do that as an example, and we have some other people do that, we can, in no time, put up the examples I'm talking about with a 5-member crew at a time. So you get to see the same 5 patients in 2 to 12-second bursts, and then you have 2 minutes worth on one question, or 1.5 minutes. And then what comes up on YouTube is part 2, different question, part 3, different question. It's the suggested video. You get people to watch one, it's 2 to 6 seconds. They don't have time to get bored and turn away. Boom, new question. And it's only 2 minutes. So I'm on to something here, but you'd be part of an all-star team for the initial thing. So I know it's not so much a question as what I'm saying is I look forward to that. And that means like sending multiple, meaning lots of short videos. Turns out computers can store that stuff real easy, you know? It's not like getting film developed anymore. So I know I'm on to something. I might not be the right person to put it through, but I might be sitting next to the person who, between me and somebody else.
What's the question? What will home grow do for you? Is that something like that?
Oh, there's gonna be multiple questions because it's an endless thing.
Jeff, what would home grow do for you?
Yeah, but
what would home grow do for me?
yeah, what's one quick point? What, you know, boom, something that, you know, I'm not saying speak quick, but
Even home delivery at this point, geez.
like for me, home grow would save my savings. Whatever.
Home grow would save my family from financial ruin.
Boom! Hear that? That was 4 seconds, my man.
What do you say?
Yeah.
He said it would save his family from financial ruin. See, you just nailed that. So basically, you know, and what else? There's other things. There's more than that, because as quick as you stop saying that, there's another patient there.
Improve my quality of life and to give me more time with my family instead of having to wait in lines for medication that's subpar.
Boom.
Boom!
What would home grow do for you?
I live in the middle of nowhere. It would help me because I don't drive.
Boom!
What would home grow do for you?
It would do a lot of things, actually. It would make me more zen.
Boom!
And then it would grow the movement. And
Boom!
Jay,
That's 2. That's a boom boom.
There you go.
Here you go. It would make me want to get out of
These are like a lobbying question, but what we know is what the opposition will say. We can guess what they're going to say. We can have the answer in 90 seconds to where they're afraid to speak if you have your finger on a button that has the X. It's not for me to answer, it's for you guys, everybody to answer. And it can be done so that when I am in somebody's office or even at a Zoom meeting or something like that, well, you know, it's on the phone with somebody, the telephone, and say, please, on your computer, tell them where to go. And I can say, that question you just asked me, I'd like you to see the answer. It's 86 seconds long. There it is. Click on it. And there's you. And there's everybody. We win, man. And it's all because it's so obvious with some people how important that is. That makes me understand that this might be all we need to do to start opening some doors that didn't used to open. Because if it's on letpatientsgrownj.com and opposition knows that it's on there, and that anybody can see it, and that members of the media can readily go to it to reference email trails that were by these legislators, by quotes that were already in print in the press, and by patients answering their questions in 3 to 10 second boom, boom, over and over. That's what it takes. And I don't know why it hasn't already happened. The sad part is it's the dinosaur, technologically speaking, me, who's trying to push this thing over, over the edge. So anyway, let's do it. We'll have specific questions. No real hurry, but when I say specific questions, it's going to be questions that you would ask a lay. So it's one premise, and every time somebody doesn't have to say it would mean. It's, what it would mean to me is, because the question is, what would it mean to you if at home grow? And it's like, save my family from financial ruin. Yeah, you came out with really an incredible keeper there, and I expect individuals like Senator O'Scanlan for the home delivery thing, and I would be happy to make that happen with just asking you some questions about that, and we have you go off on your own. We'll make sure somebody sees it. That's what we do. We make sure somebody sees it. We have a function still. When I say we, we make sure that it gets seen. I'm excited. I'm happy you could be talking with us today. It's gotten a little okay. There's just some construction going on.
Yeah, they're getting a little loud with the construction, but
It's not like I got a lot of other things to do.
yeah, we got nothing better to do here, so that's why we're here.
Yeah.
What do we got better to do? Not much. Not really.
Well, there's a test run now. You're not allowed at some point. There is going to be an openness to where you can go inside and deliver personally to the Senate majority office.
Yeah, I want to go inside.
And you get to talk to somebody. My best experience was going into the Senate majority office with Philippe Dumais, and I said what we needed to talk about, and they said, I'll leave a message. And I say, all right, let it be known you're turning a combat veteran away who would like to talk to somebody.
Oh.
You know what she said? Wait right here. Then she came back and led us to a conference room in the biggest conference table I've ever seen. Because Philippe was a combat veteran, the person we were talking to is in charge of veteran affairs and all that.
So what you said carried weight.
Yeah.
That should carry weight regardless of whether the person did your speech.
Yeah, but that's, it should, but the playing field is that we play on that it doesn't. And the thing is playing by their rules, you got to get into their heads a little bit, and all you got to do is ask yourself how it would look if this became public. Because legislators look at video and go, how would it look if this was more public? How would it look if patients heard that? What's going to happen if they go to letpatientsgrowNJ.com and see Jeff? So I'm back now. That's your fault, and therefore I'll be bugging you more often. You're almost rid of me, dude.
Don't say that.
Then you pull me back in. You are what I said before a minute. You are.
Thank you.
If I had Cheryl Miller Memorial Award, honestly, I don't know that I would have given it to anybody except you so far. And that's because I set the bar so high for her. And it's so similar, it scares me sometimes that it's like you are two peas from the same pod somehow. And rarely any animosity or anger. It's amazing. I don't know how you people do it. I need a punching bag. I swear. I hit myself so hard on the head 3 months ago, I think I burst a vein in the side of my head. Just giving myself a little love tap, being stupid. Yeah.
But when I watched the way you guys approached it in the old videos, I said, that is someone I want to be like. I
Yeah.
want to be like Cheryl.
Well, you got
Be
it.
like Jake, be like Cheryl. I mean, you can't, you know.
You see, you understand. You
what
understand.
else do we have to do on this earth except to care for one another?
Yeah.
It's the most humblest thing you can do.
I'm guessing if I never said it, and I always do about Cheryl, I want it to be quite clear that showing up was the hardest thing she ever did every time she did something. Showing up, getting there, getting arrested and booked was a piece of cake for her. It was the drive down there that almost killed her. You know, it was always getting there, the limitations.
I'm kind of bummed I didn't get arrested yet, though.
Yeah, I got one left in me, but it's a card. Seriously, I travel with potential bail money with me, at least $250.
Yeah, right.
I do. I don't have. That's all. Like all my money. It's
Surprise.
in my pocket right now.
I actually just put out $60 for some bail money because I couldn't show up at a hearing that I was a witness to. Well, actually, you were there that day. The day I got assaulted by that woman at the racetrack.
That was a turning point too.
And I, you know, we got letters from the doctor, you know, stating how ill I was, and that, you know, I'm not going to be in court or whatever on such and such a date. Yeah, they went. Well, actually, they moved it from Oceanport to Red Bank, and the judge in Red Bank was the one that put the bench warrant out for me. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? A bench warrant after I sent you a letter telling you I was terminal? And I'm not there being charged. I'm only a witness.
Jeez.
That's pathetic.
Yeah, it is. I just want to say though that for anybody that might ever see this, you mentioned that event we were at Monmouth Park. That was an occurrence like I can almost still not believe that I was there with Kathy. Didn't know. I think I did know you might be there or thinking it could get there. I don't know. But just to have Lefty, I'm making a bet, and he comes running up, just getting assaulted or arrested or whatever.
Oh my
It's
God.
like, holy crap, Lefty. Hi, hello. What are we doing here together? You know, and that by the time I got back, that the head of security and the two people with him looked like school kids waiting to get into the principal's office. You corralled them, and you know that I got to listen to you first and then look up at them, and that's when they sort of stopped shifting, like here it comes. I took out my card, trying not to show my it could have been I was going to get in trouble or not, they didn't know, but it was fun to be telling them that's how it's supposed to work, guys. That allowed me to go back out later and stand in front of security smoking a big fat joint because he knew I was a patient. Now I'm out listening to reggae music at Monmouth Park, and all because of Jeff Oakes. I got a fat joint in my mouth right next to security, and everybody's going, who the hell is that guy? That don't wondering who the hell I was. But it, you know, is patient friendly now, and it always will be there. So at Monmouth Park, if I go see the horses run one day when they're back up, I'll be able to ask for a head of security, see if it's the same guy, and let him know, you know, we're back. We'll be discreet.
No, listen.
Trailblazer.
I put our flag in that place a long time ago. When I was dealing with our council in Oceanport here, because they banned it. They banned medical and rec. But one of my council, well, the council president at the time was, and he's gone, thank you, in part to me, and a lot of other people that went to the meetings and saw what he was really about when I exposed him. He was actually, people got sick with his garbage, because he actually he's a horseman. He's owned a few horses every now and then. And at the same time, I don't recall him ever recusing himself from any conversation about Monmouth Park, at a council meeting, which is, that to me is an ethics thing.
Who is this you were talking about? I want to be clear. I'm not sure I heard.
Jill Iris.
Okay.
Council president, Oceanport. So yeah, and I always went to the track. I got a friend of mine for the simulcast and stuff. Just to help me out and give me something to do. So security over there, and they're like, yeah, designated areas, have a go at it. And I didn't have to talk to them about it. They were very educated on it.
Well,
And it surprised me, but it was nice to be treated with a little compassion and courtesy and kindness in my own hometown, other than what I witnessed come out of our own council. So yeah, that was a little bit of a victory for me. It was a milestone for me, having Monmouth Park be patient friendly, because we've all ended up there now. Some of us, I should say, have ended up there one time, and we don't have to worry about it. We may have to worry about some angry old hippie that smacks a joint out of your hands, but that, that's the least of my
protecting
worries.
our
Not that
band.
bad.
Yeah. Well,
Other than that one
we
experience, Bob, over there.
in New Jersey, one thing that's lost on a lot of people is, while our medical cannabis law is nowhere near what it could be, our patients' rights to medicate in public are at the top of the heap. We have probably the best, if not one of the best, patient consumption benefits in the country. In Las Vegas, you gotta hide. In Las Vegas, if you're a patient, you gotta hide. And
really?
yeah,
I was in Vegas. Damn.
yeah, in Vegas, there's no public consumption. I think probably because there's such rampant public consumption because they have the largest dispensary
We
shop
smoked outside.
anywhere.
It was legal.
Yeah, but you have to have somewhere to go. You can't just sit on a bench and
Like
do
a
it.
patio.
Yeah, how
Only
many
like 10
people have
minutes.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they don't really care. I
Yeah,
mean, if I just lost $5,000, I'm gonna be smoking two and looking at a cop in the face.
I did
don't
not
really care.
gamble. I was afraid to.
I mean, the common
I was
misperception
really
is,
afraid of that.
I thought you're only allowed to use it at home.
Oh no.
Oh God, I've heard that a million times.
Yeah.
But yeah, we
Boy,
do
edibles are
forget.
so
We do
good.
have that. That is a nice luxury to have.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you.
That's a bad word for it. It's a necessity.
Yeah, and it paid off for me that my better half, Kathy, she was driving and pulled into a Wawa, and there wasn't hardly anybody there, and she had a handicap thing because Hartford walk now. And, I put my ID card on, either stick it on my forehead or I put it on the dashboard, and I smoke, and the wind was blowing it right into I could see it go into the vestibule, and then as the door opened with a delivery. So when she came out, she was like really laughing about how it smelled so much that everybody was talking about it, and she explained it was me, and that I'm allowed to out in the parking lot as long as I'm far enough away from the door and the keys aren't in the ignition. So they were all educated, But that was because New Jersey does have a good law like that. And there are some patients who abuse it, who they'll just wantonly smoke while they're driving a joint because if you put it out and it feels cold, you can say, I wasn't smoking. It still smells like it. You can't get rid of the smell. It's a toss-up then. So like,
Dude, the smell is the worst.
it's like, it's not the worst thing in the world, But
Personally, I never smoked while I was driving.
Oh, this was a friend of mine I was talking about.
Yeah.
Policy.
Yeah, I actually had it was a Bricktown office.
Yeah, well.
And we were smoking outside at the flagpole at one of the Bricktown meetings, and in the smoking area, and the cop came over and talked to me. He's like, "Did you drive here?" I'm like, "Yeah, matter of fact, I did." He's like, "Well, how
I think
do
I was
you
there.
know after you're smoking here that it's safe for you to drive?" And I looked him straight in the eye. I kind of chuckled. I said, "Well," I said, "I do the best I can. I treat it the same as somebody who has a warning label on an opioid bottle.
Stay between the lines.
I use my self-discretion whether I feel that I'm okay to drive or not. You know?"
Well,
And
that's
he looked at me and said,
that's the law.
"That's a pretty good answer."
Yeah. Well, that's also the law that you are the judge of whether or not you are able to drive, as is with other medicines.
Exactly.
Yeah. So sometimes when you have a real lot of experience, you know, it's sort of like actually it helps at times. You know, it clears out the static in my head.
Yeah, I mean, for me, let's put it this way: if I'm not feeling well, okay, and I didn't use the cannabis, I would have to drive, being like nauseous or having a headache, whatever, you know, minor symptoms. But if I can use the cannabis and I can reduce those symptoms, I'm actually a better driver. That's the way I feel. I'm not saying I'm driving high. I'm saying that after I medicate, you know, if it's 20 minutes or an hour, whatever it is, or somewhere in between, like you say, it's my judgment. And I truthfully, I've researched so much to where I can't even research anymore. And I want to say this name to anybody out there that is patient and really wants to dive into the biological side of cannabis. Dr. Robert Melamede. And you can see he's got a ton of videos on YouTube. And I'll go post one up when we're done here, one of the better ones.
I know
but
Bob.
He actually says that that using cannabis when you're driving, it actually makes you a better driver. It makes you a more cautious driver.
Yeah.
And the way he explained it is,
I can see that.
Because the cannabinoids, they actually nurture your body. So everything in your body will work somewhat better. So he said it's like when you're driving, he says, you don't get 8 frames when you look from the right to the left. You're getting 9 frames because your body is functioning better. And I found that extremely interesting because we've had that
sounds like Bob.
thrown in our face quite a few times. And I think many times when people, you know, say they're high and they're not comfortable driving, I think that's more of an anxiety thing brought on by the actual law itself.
You know, you're
And the cannabis.
Bob Melamede. I've known him for like a really long time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Since 2000, and we spent some
You know
quality.
him personally?
Well, yeah, we've spent quality time together over the years. But
Did you blaze with him?
he, what I liked about him was that he decided when he was 15 years old and he started smoking pot that he was going to become a college professor because you could set your own curriculum. You could have a course. You could choose to have a course. So when he became the head of the biology department or microbiology or whatever it was at, was it Colorado? I forget now. But anyway, yeah, he taught a course with a big pot leaf on a t-shirt that people rushed to sign up for because they were getting college credits. And he did have a way of putting things in relative terms that really explained things well. He explained a sense to me, but what I will always remember about him as a highlight in my life was at an after conference thing at Maryland Mathry and Al Burns, actually an old plantation in Virginia. All these notables went back for the yard. They had people playing period instruments. They had a table spread out with all this stuff. And I'm talking with Bob Melamede, and wandering over comes Raphael Meshulam.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Oh, shoot.
he wanders over, and I'm smoking a joint with Dr. Bob Melamede, and Raphael Meshulam comes over and says, "May I join in your conversation?" And that's how he said it, you know. And
I love him.
we had a great and I'm getting
Mazel
high,
tov, doctor.
and I'm in the moment, and I say to him, "Hey man, not for lack of offering, you gonna have some?"
Yeah.
And he went, "Oh no," like that. I mean, he's like a little guy. He's like cute, you know.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and he like laughing, and so I'm looking at the joint, saying, "So here I am talking with the guy who can explain why I feel so good, talking with the guy, the THC, you know." And it was, I mean, this was before even I knew the importance of CBD, but yeah, Bob Melamede, yeah, he has a way of putting it in layman's terms that are good. I haven't talked to him in a while, but one day.
Yeah, he also did a lot of work with another biologist, and I think that guy has since passed away. He was from University of Madrid in Spain.
Yeah.
I can't recall his name. You may.
I do, and it's not happening.
And the
I know who you
two of
mean.
them are they're just like, it's like the double whammy tag team, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have my phone here and my iPad. I just, my iPad had, turned off, and I turn it back on. I see Dan sitting there, and I forgot he was there. So I'm hoping he finds today's show extremely interesting. I know he's taking notes, right, Dan?
Yeah. He's not here right now, but yeah, he was leaning in close, and yes, he was taking notes. Dan's always going to take notes. We're still here.
Hey. Oh yeah, no. Hey, I just left to get some more pens. Do a little advertising right now, actually.
Right.
Thank you. Hey Jeff, God bless. How are you?
Nice pen.
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Fighting a little bit of a fever, but I think it's starting to break a little bit.
Oh, that's great.
You want to talk with him?
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to trade seats. I got the good seat where I can see you and hear you. Dan's going to take my place because he's got a fresh pen and some paper. And this is I'm glad to talk to you again, Jeff. I'll be messaging you, and we'll get this together with some patient snippets ASAFP. Talk to you later, man.
Gotcha. Thank you, Jim.
Hey Jeff.
Hey, good afternoon. Good to see you, my friends.
Thank you. How you been?
Rapping better, but I always got to go to the song. I get by with, actually it was Joe Cocker. I get by with a little help from my friends. And ironically, you guys may get a chuckle at what I'm medicating with here today is they have a nice moon rock.
Nice.
So you guys will get a chuckle out of that.
Hold on.
But
Taking over the camera. Ba-ba-da-da-da, commercial. Ba-ba-da-da-da-da-da-da.
there you are.
Oh wait.
She didn't
Almost
find
had
out
it.
about having the cannabis.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much staying out of the heat because I can't even hardly step out the door. It just drops me to my knees.
Yeah, I was gonna wear a blazer today.
So yeah, this is my highlight for the week is Lefty's podcast. I'm glad that you got back out to Trenton.
Yeah, like it's great out here. I'm getting the plane.
Well, like Jim says, he's been his head's been out of the game a little bit. Having it live in front of the State House kind of puts the juice back into it, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm like excited to be out here. I was looking forward. Yeah, I was trying to get dressed up. I was wearing like a collar, good shirt. It's great being out here. Actually, it's so quiet though. That usually we see like more like an assembly staffer at least by now to lobby.
Yeah, it's probably strange. Yeah,
Nobody's really
anytime
walking
I was
around.
out there was no business. So.
Yeah, so it's just like really quiet for business today, but then we could get to have like conversations. A lot's been happening. Actually, yeah, so it's good to talk to you, actually, because my book's coming out and you're featured in the book.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
That's good. I got I mentioned in a song, and now I'm mentioned in a book.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that could be... What song is that?
I forget the name of it.
God damn.
Cannabis Ted over in Ireland wrote it. What's his name? John Smalls.
John Smalls.
John Smalls.
Fascinating.
And he's always on there. I think he has he has an issue with his eyesight. I think he's possibly probably legally blind or something. So he spends a lot of time at home, and he's always making these neat little videos. Either doing cover songs or he made a lot of stuff for nice.
Thank you.
And it was sort of like
I got to give you my address so you can mail me a copy.
Okay. I'm doing ebook actually first. So we're all initially it's all digital actually. So we're right now actually debuted for pre-order. We're pre-ordered on BarnesandNoble.com. We're on Apple.com. We're gonna get in Amazon next week when it's actually fully launched. So there's no pre-orders there. So everything's coming along. It's really great.
That's good. It's always good to have someone like yourself who's obviously more experienced than I am when it comes to writing and stuff. And it was something I wanted to talk about before. It's like we're pretty much we depend on guys like you to get our story out because we don't have any money. We don't have any professional lobbyists. And it's ironic that we're out here beating down the pavement many times, and the people that are benefiting from our work are the people that are invested in the medical dispensaries, and they don't even come back and give us a shake, for Christ's sakes. And in some cases, they actually, I understand, what they call curative thief.
Yeah. I never heard that. I gotta write that down. That's awesome. People hate that one the most. Cura thief.
That they actually blackball patient product.
That is a great story. Who did that?
Support. Why isn't it? If the industry is catering to the patients, why isn't the industry paying you forward, so to speak? Why aren't they coming back to us and saying, hey, we want to help you guys. Here's a donation for this or that. We have the Cannabis 2020. You would think that some of these people that are invested in these dispensaries would actually contact us and say, hey, here's whatever, $5,000, go get a billboard for yourselves.
Yeah.
Anything. But if we get zero. And, I know what comes out of Lefty's pocket all the time to keep all this shit going. At times I try to help him. But,
well, that's why we really like Hugh. Hugh Giordano, shout out. God bless. Solidarity forever. He's a good guy.
Oh, yeah.
So, they had Dragonfly before. That was quite a story. I wrote about them. That's all I'll say for now. About Dragonfly and, Dr. Andrew?
No, I'm not really familiar with that.
Dr. Andrew Medvedovsky of NJAM.
I should know better, excuse me.
No, don't worry about it. So you're featured in the book, though. Actually, they are two. No, they're not. Never mind. So the book is not finished. I'm still in like the crazy editing places, but there's some stories that if I could, I would make it like 500 pages. But that's a little too much, I'm trying to make it succinct for information. So it's going well. I'm really excited actually to get it out. I really want to be
You know.
They get my name there on the paper, you know, talking like different media. Willing, you know, after this hell of a first half of the year. It's like 3 crises in once right now. God bless everybody out there, you know.
Another patient.
Lefty's pious, you know, I'm pretty spiritual.
Boom. And then there
This guy's John, he's like John Brown, godlike or something. Yeah, so Jim Miller's in the book too. Lefty's in the book. Mike Brennan of CMMNJ. I just interviewed him actually. Is he in the book? I'm not sure. Ken Wolski's in the book. Guy Lattieri.
And some of it is like
is out. He's in there. Tiramisu, Jesse Gill, Leo Bridgewater.
25 years of
Any number of other people. Evan Nissan is in the book profile. Book.
I used to be killer at getting micro.
You know, Normal's definitely in the book. We'll see about a hardcover. I really want to get a hardcover though. I think I'll get it later in the summer. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna get it later in the summer because I think I'm gonna. So we're also working with Canna Pop Up. You know, they are Robert and Holly Ehrlich. They throw events in North Jersey for like CBD and that whole emerging business market. So I'm doing like a virtual thing then on the 23rd, so stay tuned for that. That'll be, yeah, unfortunately they're still, you know, we're in this COVID time making the best we can. We're not, yeah, it's all virtual, so like there's no, usually they have a nice place in Montclair, there's like food trucks, so it's like really great that way. So I'm excited about that.
Length of time is 1 seconds.
Yeah, wait.
But some watch it, some don't. What's the media?
What do you mean your content? I guess you've done a lot, but...
Any content, I mean, anything you want to pull off my page, like I said, I'm an open book. Whatever, you know, if there's anything that you can find and going through my page, have at it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So how's your daughter? I remember, wasn't she about to graduate?
Yep, she graduated in our yard.
Nice.
You know, certainly not a traditional graduation, but it was kind of special. You know,
yeah.
it was
so just not
you know,
every time a person's on there, but somehow.
I mean, there was no way that day was going to ruin it. That this pandemic was going to ruin that day for her or I, because I did a pinky shake with her 4 years ago, and she was just going off to her first year of college when I was originally diagnosed. And I told her, I said,
it does work best.
Pinky shake, I'm going to be there. So we both met our goal. Both met our goals. She graduated.
God bless. That must have been great. Is there like a good speaker? Virtual? Oh, that's great.
You know, it lacked all the pomp and circumstance, but it was very personal. You know, it was nice.
That's awesome. People are still doing the robes. I've seen hats at least. People graduating like middle school in hats. Everything's digital now. It's so crazy this time. I hope
I'm not going to take part because I'm not really very.
We're just a little more scaled back, ladies and gentlemen, than our usual fine operations for our first day back here in Trenton. Apologize for all the technical difficulties we're having. It's also windy. And Lefty is exposed right now, so thank you for staying by. You know, we're here sponsored by USCW, Local 152, Hugh Giordano. So back to our program. Yeah, what were you saying?
I forgot. The cannabis is working.
Oh yeah, the graduation. Yeah, so so people can do like that. You can still hear a good speech. You know, I heard mine like on my graduation speech for grad school from George Washington. I heard on the computer, so you could do that like a couple years later. So
yeah, I actually I wasn't feeling well leading up to the graduation, and I actually wrote the commencement letter or speech. I didn't speak to anyone, but I wrote a commencement speech for my daughter. It was short and sweet. It's probably up on my webpage somewhere.
Oh, that's great.
Every Sunday.
Yeah, it was kind of nice to be able to add a personal touch to it, you know?
Nice.
crazy. She was banned from the house.
But
Mom died, never released her from the band, so
yeah, what a road. You know, I just,
As you should.
you know, for me,
I had to do that.
being in my circumstance,
I had
my
that
thoughts
power.
are with, you know, certainly the younger people that have to live,
Yeah.
try to find their way during this pandemic. It just, it's heartbreaking, and it's, I think that was really much the gist of my, out of this class of 2020 will come the leadership that will someday, you know, contribute to getting humanity past
Nobody has ever
the and through this pandemic. You know?
Yeah.
Because we can never stop discounting the value of the youth.
Absolutely. God bless you. I feel hope for the future. People are like the younger people, even the Gen Zers, and along with millennials are like very progressive, you know, really environmentally, socially conscious.
You know, folks that are a little bit older, like myself, we're handing off a world to our younger generation that's, quite frankly, probably pretty terrifying from their eyes, because they've never really seen anything as disruptive as this.
Have you?
Well, I was born in 1960, so yeah, I do remember the whole 60s period and the Vietnam War and the Cold War, and we actually had we used to have nuclear drills in the classroom.
I remember hearing about those. We saw the video.
Yeah, and they would, you know, the teachers would all lead a single file down the hallway and into the basement, you know.
Ooh.
And we'd all go down there and sit down and lean against the wall for a few minutes, and then we'd all come back up to our classroom. But yeah, it affected me.
Damn.
So yeah, but you know, my generation, we were relatively lucky. You know, like I said, in 1960, I was young. It affected me. Obviously, not as somebody it would have someone who was a vet that served in the Vietnam War, of course, or anything. But yeah, I mean, we were lucky that we lived through a relatively peaceful time in this country. You know.
Yeah.
So now we're really getting off on a tangent.
Hey Jeff, do you want to stay with us while we do our list? We're about to do the list now.
Oh, you about to do the list?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Is it that time already?
Yeah, you made us sad already, but now we're gonna get really sad.
All right.
Now we're gonna jump off the end here. Hold on a second.
I can't even hang up on you.
No, you can't. All right, so this is the Ignorance is No Excuse pod. Yes. This was brought to you by UFCW Local 152, Union Grown. If you need a union job in cannabis industry, call Hugh Giordano at 609-680-5718. Give Hugh a call. He will help you out with a job and some training and all the stuff you need in the cannabis industry.
So does anybody know what salting is? Intentions to form a union there.
Oh, salting.
We're
gonna do some salting.
Yeah, I'm gonna salt.
I want to thank cmmnj.org, sativacross.com, Magical Butter, davidversusautism.com, medical-freedom.com, The Falling Sickness, NewJerseyWeedman.com, hashtag LetPatientsGrowNewJersey.com, New Jersey Grannies for Grass, JacksonStorms.com, Arlo Glass, OprahMachine.com, Pure Puff Vapor Supply, and DragonFlyHealthCenter.com, Sativa Cross West. Our list starts off with, well, Jim, do you want to start off our list? The list starts with Cheryl. Cheryl was your late wife.
She's still my late wife.
Right. Yeah, I said that wrong. Cheryl is your late wife. Yeah.
And talking about are relative to Jeff. And it reminded me of some similarities that don't pop into my head until it's thrust there by things that, like Jeff's saying. And I'm watching him in a situation where he makes cannabis advocacy his prime concern other than his own health, and at times sacrifices. So yeah, Cheryl knew what it was like to be the only patient speaking about medical marijuana from 1991 until 1999 when we attended a class action suit in Philadelphia. And we started meeting other patients and stepping up. So anyway, those were lonely, hard times for Cheryl. There was nobody to ask how to do things. There was nobody that could show up when she didn't. And that's Jeff, you know. So this list is full of people who built on that since then. And the combined power of how their situation can motivate people. That's all Cheryl ever wanted, that after her time, that she'd be thought of as a teacher. But if nobody learns, were you really a teacher, you know? So
She inspired me.
yeah, well, it's a little bit my fault for not making the direct very evident now. And there's more, you know, they just haven't, I don't know, they're there. We're gonna,
Let's move on to Subpoena Rose.
yeah, that's
That's a rough one.
yeah,
baby.
that changed the scope of pediatric care in New Jersey. And it did for other families. The migration to Colorado increased when Sabina Rose died. It became important to other people. It became the example. But she was 15 months old, and she had a 24-hour seizure. And she would have been a patient had she lived long enough.
Diane Ripatella.
She was singing that song, "We Are Family," you know. The day the law passed something, and it was in a conference room at a press conference. And she was very afraid to die as ALS, but she showed up, and it was powerful.
I want to dance for the anniversary of today. Home delivery. It's anniversary today.
Yeah,
One year, right?
let's have a party.
Are we happy about it? Oh wait, wait, we don't have it.
No.
It's not here yet.
Is it here yet?
Oh, sorry.
Years until that actually goes into effect.
Sorry about that.
There was a conversation.
You can get your alcohol delivered.
Yeah.
Diane,
Yeah, you get-
Diane danced.
Get your alcohol.
She's in a wheelchair, ALS, and she was dancing.
Get your booze.
More important than that was Joe, her husband. The smile he had. He was standing behind her. He wasn't sitting. But, you know, he just, he enjoyed that as much as her. It's a reminder that it's not just the patients, it's their whole families that are hundreds of people deeply affected by the fact that their names are even on that list.
The next are little babies, Gracie and Cindy Mae. My mom, Randy Robertson, Polly Connolly. There's a connection to be made because Bill Buckman, they used to pull over black people on the turnpike all the time, and Bill Buckman put a stop to that, right?
Him and very few others, so few that he almost lost his law practice.
Yes.
Because while he dropped everything else to do that, he still had staff. There was still research. It took a full-time employee, and he wasn't doing anything else, and he was spending his own money. And it was because of that New Jersey Turnpike that people of color were being stopped at an incredibly disproportionate rate. And when Bill Buckman told the judge, and I can prove it, that he got the chance. And he'd like to seen what we're doing happen a long time ago. It's too bad it didn't happen in his lifetime.
Chad was diagnosed with brain cancer, and when he was diagnosed with brain cancer, his father killed himself, leaving Iris to take care of him, who knew nothing about cannabis, but they got a magical butter machine, and we taught her some recipes, and we tried to help, and got him some Fico, but it was too little too late. for Chad. Poor Iris. Can you imagine? That's
Try
just
not
really
to.
awful. Jeremy, Joanne's husband, Paulette, Matt, Troy from pancreatic cancer, Russ Perry, Roger Barber, Jim, you know Roger.
Yeah, you knew Roger. I knew Roger. We knew
We all
Roger.
knew Roger.
We knew Roger. That man went on an unfortunate transformation in his life when he got drafted into this.
Yeah.
When he was not only a father of a special needs student, that medical cannabis was her levels, and he got busy. But then a lot of what kept him centered was becoming acquainted or reacquainted with cannabis while he did that. And we saw Roger have some of his happiest times right here in Trenton, where it was all going down. And because of him, New Jersey became the first state in the country to allow a Schedule I substance, cannabis, on school grounds. The first state in the country, not Colorado, not California, that because of that man.
Thank you, Roger.
Thanks, Roger.
J.R. Leto, Ella Bagelman, Hattie Koshel, Jackie Rickard, Anthony, Jake the Tank, Armando, Felicia, Lynn, Dan, Sean McKay, Joyce Fortini, Lori McBride, Frank, Brian, Flo, Carl, Thorne, Frank, Lorraine, Terry, Charlotte, Cher, Jay Bird, and Michael Dillon, who died from a drop seizure. So if you have 10% to give to somebody, give it to them.
Not only that, if you have a little extra and you know a patient every now and then, ask them if they're all right.
Yeah, give them 10% of your time.
Give them 10% of your time, give them 10% of something that might work for them.
10% of something.
When I used to go to festivals, I would say, listen, don't throw them roaches away, and give it to a patient, because there are people in wheelchairs at the festival. There are people that are on crutches and just not going nowhere. And there are people like, I'm a patient, you can't see it. And you can take care of them, I'm just saying, this is a very patient-friendly thing you do in Trenton. And sooner or later, it's going to be a little more open.
Yeah. Yeah, like when the politicians walk by.
That's
great.
Maybe it'll get to the point where at least once a month we can make it a point, a special effort to get one patient here.
I was not just peeing. I went to the state police. I got a permit for next week. And we'll do a real podcast next week.
Really?
Yeah, we'll do a real one.
On the anniversary?
Yeah, we'll do a real podcast with headphones and all that stuff.
Isn't that kind of the thing you'd like lead off with, Norm?
Pee. I got to pee now.
Yeah.
But I was so excited. The day's available. We're here next week. A real podcast.
I'm here.
Sorry about the technical stuff today, but this is what we're doing. I don't want to...
Spring training.
This is what you get, man. This is good.
We had a shortened season.
No stress for me today. No stress. I'm just like, okay, I'm chill. I'm zen today. Next week, I'm gonna be like, what?
You'll see an angry Lefty next week.
You'll see me running around getting stuff done next week.
Yeah, we will be making some phone calls. You're on the air.
Phone calls. We're gonna do phone calls.
Oh, we are gonna do some phone calls.
Jim, do you know the ode? Can you do the ode? I'll do the verse before, and then you can do the last one. Do you know the last one?
I usually do as it happens, kind of put me on a spot.
I know. I love it.
Go ahead,
Yeah? Let's give it a shot. I'll help you along. All right.
Yeah, it's going to be paraphrased. Man.
I love it. I'll fix it for you. I'll just go.
Let's see.
We're going to do the ode. Jeff, do you know the ode? Yeah. All right, let me start the ode.
Let Jeff do it.
Yeah. Let me start it and then finish it. Hold on. Let me get back on here. Hold on. I'll start it.
I'm going to mouth it.
This is good. All right.
I love this part.
Yeah, this is...
The third stanza.
Yeah.
This is... They fell with their faces to...
They went with songs to the... hashtag they shall grow. Hashtag vote cannabis 2020 and hashtag let patients grow NewJersey.com. And UFCW. Thank you.
No, NJ.
NJ. Yeah, we did that. Let patients grow New Jersey. Let New Jersey patients grow?
Patients grow NJ.
Let patients grow New Jersey.
NJ!
NJ.
Let patients grow NJ.com. Sorry.
And you want me to remember the fourth?
Now I'm really sad. Oh, God. All right, here we go. Ready, Jeff? They went with songs to the battle. They were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe. And this is your part here.
Oh, is this the? I don't know the whole thing.
I
Is
thought
this
they show Grow Not Old. You know that part?
Oh yeah, I'm actually looking. I just read the. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not
weary them.
Weary them or
Yes.
the years condemn.
Yes.
At the going down.
The going down of the sun, and in the morning we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Remember them.
Yeah, I knew that shit.